Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we'll be doing a detailed camera review of the new budget smartphone from Redmi, the Redmi 11 Prime. So Redmi 11 Prime comes in two flavors, the 5G variant as well as the 4G variant. Now the 5G variant is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 700 chip, while the 4G variant is powered by the Helio G99 chip. Now we have the 5G variant with us, so this is the MediaTek Dimensity 700 chip, and this comes with a dual camera setup. You get just a primary 50 megapixel sensor, and then you get a depth sensor and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. It's a very simple and minimalistic camera setup. There is no ultra wide, there is no macro. It's a very basic setup, but you get a 50 megapixel primary sensor. So let's see how good the camera experience is on the Xiaomi Redmi 11 Prime. So before getting started, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's first have a look at the camera hardware. Now you get a primary 50 megapixel sensor. It's a Samsung's JN1 sensor, and you get f1.8 aperture on the primary camera, and then you get a depth sensor included. There is no macro as well as ultra wide. These two sensors are missing, so the depth sensor is for portrait images, and then you get a front 8 megapixel selfie camera. So that's the camera setup on the Redmi 11 Prime. So let's go deep into the camera samples and see how good they perform. So let's first have a look at the daylight captures. So let's have a look at the daylight captures. You can see that the Redmi 11 Prime's primary 50 megapixel camera is able to produce good images which are colorful, vivid and also detailed. The brightness levels are also good, and these are good images for social sharing too. The dynamic range looks good, and there is an option to toggle the auto HDR mode as well. The sharpness levels are also good for a phone in this segment. The sky colors are also looking good, although they are slightly towards the vivid side, but not a major concern though. Overall, looking at the daylight captures, there is hardly anything to complain here considering the pricing, and the images have come pretty good. The phone misses out on the ultra wide angle camera and also the macro sensor. Now moving on to the close-up images, here you get good results from the 50 megapixel camera. The images have good details, sharpness levels are also adequate, and colors are also done well. There is no macro mode available, as I said before, so here you cannot go too close while taking images. The detailing also looks good in the close-up shots. Now moving on to the portraits. The Redmi 11 Prime produces portraits which have good detailing. The skin tones looks good, and the sharpness levels are also quite good for a budget device. The edge detection works pretty well in most scenarios, but with complex background it could mess up a few edges. But overall we feel the portraits have come quite well. Now next let's move on to the low light images. With indoor artificial lights, the camera can do decent photos, and the noise levels are kept to minimum. The sharpness levels are also acceptable here. When light drops further, you can see noise creeping in, and here it is more or less evident too. In extreme low light conditions, you should be turning on the night mode, but unfortunately the results aren't great, and you can see it is low on sharpness levels, and quite often you can see blurry images too. So this is definitely not a camera for extreme low light captures considering the price segment. This could be also fixed to an extent with software updates. Now moving on to the selfies, the 8 megapixel camera produces good results, the skin tones are good and quite natural too. You can also turn off the beauty mode here. The sharpness levels and the dynamic range also looks good for the price segment it is being offered. Since selfies are more of a personal choice, you can judge based on the images shown here. The portrait selfies also came out decent, although edge detection isn't perfect with complex backgrounds, but it is manageable though. Let's move on to the video recording. The rear camera can record videos in just 1080p resolution at 30 fps. There is no EIS offered, and hence it is not recommended for moving footages. The colors are quite good, and sharpness levels are also okay. The dynamic range seems average though. So this was the video recording of the Redmi 11 Prime. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the Redmi 11 Prime, so you can judge yourself how good the 8 megapixel shooter is, and also the audio output from the selfie camera. So this is recorded in 1080p resolution. So that was a camera review of the Redmi 11 Prime. So summing up, how good is the camera on the Redmi 11 Prime? We would say it's quite a decent option in this price segment. Especially the daylight captures came out pretty good for the 50 megapixel shooter. The quality was good, the dynamic range was good, the sharpness and detailing also looks good. The portraits are quite okay. The close-up shots also came out pretty well. The selfies are also good with good skin tones offered. But the only downside probably would be the low light experience. It's not a great performer in extreme low light conditions, but with adequate lighting it can do decent photography. Once again, this is a budget smartphone, so you will have limitations with low light photography. Now there is no EIS on the video recording. That's one area we feel Xiaomi could be offering at least electronic image stabilization via software updates, but otherwise we feel this is quite a decent shooter in this price segment, and for social sharing you won't be disappointed with the results offered by the primary 50 megapixel camera. So that was our experience with the Xiaomi, or rather Redmi 11 Prime. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Do let us know what you guys think about the Redmi 11 Prime in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.